Hello everyone, this is CJNovo992 and today we're back for another brand new video, or tonight as the old Fitbit is telling me. And I'll be honest with you, between me and thee, I was slightly nervous about today's upload because not only was that inconsiderate timing of a game of football for any football fan that actually wants to attend this game and watch this game and have to arrange some travel for this game, it was also one of these things sitting here knowing it's going to take me a couple of hours by the time I get here, I do the video, upload it. I'm always hours and hours behind everybody else. We all know that, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not the quickest guy in the world. So I was a wee bit nervous about this potential upload because it is St Johnstone, it is Ibrox, it's just before the international break. It might be a bit of a damp squid with very little to actually talk about, but then we got the boost of the week, you know what I mean, during it, finding out that Hagi was going to be involved in Sunday, and I thought, you know what, maybe we'll have Son talk about this. We're staying up to about 1 o'clock in the morning to watch this video. If you are, by the way, thank you so much. Get to bed though, seriously, a lot of you have work / school / something better to be doing. But for those that are watching it another time, by God, did Hagi not give us something to talk about. As Hagi returned in probably the most Rangers way possible, and we're obviously got a cheeky one to talk about as well. So join me as we go and recap and discuss what was Rangers 2, St Johnstone none. And I guess before we do go ahead and talk about Hagi, which again is going to dominate the news, is going to dominate the headline, it'll probably dominate this recap and comment section. I mean, if you're staying up, you probably want to talk about our boy Hagi, but I want to talk about someone else who also returned in the actual game that will actually go ahead and get lost in the shuffle now, despite being the guy that actually won us this game with 2 fantastic goals. Now, he might have deactivated his Instagram, but he activated his football brain and turned up our boy Cerny. It was nice to see you again. And see you certainly feels the right phrasing, because by God didn't he look like the player we thought we got when he certainly put out that performance versus Motherwell previously, when he scored the screamer, when he was looking sharp on the ball. That is someone that's done a complete 180 in the space of one game and got himself playing back at a high level. Now, of course, it's not the same calibre as Leon, it's not this or that, but you can only ever beat what's in front of you. And I guess the biggest frustration you would have had with Cerny is no matter if it was domestically or in Europe, he has been struggling, he hasn't been performing, but all it takes is a spark, and by God did it get it with a dirty little nutmeg and tapping it in to the back of it to spark him on to have what I thought was a fantastic game, and truly was the man of the match, and he deserves to be credited as that and spoken about in that way, as he was absolutely brilliant. And we need to be as vocal and as loud as we are of the praise for Cerny as we are with criticism. So aye, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, my man of the match on the game, spoiler it, was Cerny. Scored goals, looked bright, was attacking his man, all things we've not seen enough of in a Rangers shirt. But all we can hope is it isn't a false dawn, and this can be back to him as he was more direct, he was taking on his men. It wasn't, let me just shuffle the ball the time and wait for Tavernier to trot his arse up here to actually pass to him. No, he was being a winger, he was taking his man on, he was asking questions, he was shifting on his right foot, the stuff that he's been doing in Dutch football for years, not just being left-sided, no, shifting it in, because we all know he's left-footed, and we talked about that in his actual rumour video, on the breakdown video, I should say, is the amount of goals this guy scored with his right foot, because everyone knows he wants on the left, but he's got that quick shimmy. We spoke about that in length, and it's been coming back the last couple of weeks on social media, people saying, I think you said he shifts it, I think you said he shifts it. Well, do you see what we're talking about now, ladies and gentlemen? He was just back with confidence, and I thought it was set early on in the game where he was doing some nice crosses, doing some nice passes, but again, just sizing up his man and taking him on. Being a winger, no a facilitator, no a holder of a football for a Tavernier to run right by him. Let him be the guy in the right hand side, give him the responsibility, and that's the type of level of performance you can get of him. And his goals that he scored today were magnificent. And again, it is just one game, it is just St Johnstone, but as we said 30 seconds ago, you can only ever beat what's in front of you, and there's a lot of teams like St Johnstone in Scottish football, and if you could put that level of performance now throughout the rest of the season, I'll be a happy guy. That's on him, but what was also on him was his man of the match performance today. So before we talk about the headlines and the clickbait, the guy that won us this game, his name is Cerny, and he deserves some praise. But alright, let's go ahead and talk about the other guy that helped win us this game, because he did get an assist, and I do find myself in a very uncomfortable position as I've championed the return of Hagi now for a long time. If you've watched this video, we've made video and video, broke this down, broke this, been frustrated at this, disappointed in the club here, disappointed in Clermont here. Well, Hagi was given his opportunity after sorting his wage stuff out, sorting all the stuff out behind the scenes. He was able to get a week of training with the first team, clearly did enough to be a part of the 18, got in to the matchday squad and came on to a substitute appearance. Now, it was very strange seeing him wear the number 30, by the way, and if he didn't do what he done 15 minutes later, I'd be having an argument saying he should be wrestling the 7 shirt off him. But now, considering the red card, he might need to hold that conversation for a little bit of a while. But he jogged on the park and you could see what it meant to him. A wee bit emotional, as he's always been on that edge of area. The fans were appreciative, couple wee nice touches, and then he goes ahead and grabs a brilliant assist as his penetrating forward pass, pew, beats 2 men into defeat of Cerny, where yes, he still has to do a wee bit of work to put it into the back of net, but that's how football works, you know what I mean? The ball gets played forward and put to someone, that's an assist, and the storylines were right there. Hagi on for 10 minutes and grabs an assist. Playing your most creative players brings creativity. That's a madness right there in itself. But then all the joy, all the happiness, all the buzz about Hagi's return that was right in itself took a little bit of a hit, as Hagi showed he's still got that emotion and again lives on that edge as he just tries too hard, and it's something we spoke about for many years. He's wholehearted, it's just who he is. Whatever he's doing, he gives his absolute all, and look, it's not a malicious challenge, he's not trying to hurt somebody, he's just trying to get the ball, he's blowing. Let's be honest, at this level, at this speed, he's not played a lot of football, so clearly he's rusty. Just goes over the top of the ball, catches this Johnstone player and deservedly picks up a red card. That's right, I'm saying it was a deserved red card these days, you know what I mean? You're always gonna get it. People can point to A, B and C, but we know how it goes in football these days, and he was always going to get a red card for that, especially when the referee gets told to go and look at it, as there's very few with the cojones to say, nah, I'm going to stick with my decision. He's been reffed and told to change it from VAR, referee goes and changes it, and Hagi's return goes pretty much like this. Hey guys, great to be back. Here's an assist. See lads, all the best, see you in December. And you know, as we go ahead and take the old fit butt off, let's go into the actual game recap then, because I think that's it in terms of the individuals, because as much fun as we're having and as much jokes as we're cracking and as how good we feel going in to this international break, it's maybe a little bit of a smokescreen considering how iffy that game was in parts. I mean, the starting 11 probably sums it up as best as you actually could, and probably sums up Clermont's reign, actually, because it's yet another starting 11 that's got some good, it's got some bad, and it's got some confusion all in there. That's how I would summarise. If you said, how's the year been under Clermont, that's the 3 words I would actually use. Good, bad, confusing. And that's how it always seems to be a starting 11, because I can't even really think of any starting 11 I went, yeah, that's it, that's what I want to see. And you know what I'm alluding to here, there was a couple question marks. Again, Ross McCausland was played out on the left hand side, when again Cerny's an out and out left footed style player, but again Cerny's had a very good game, so we can't take away for him. But we Ross, I've said it many times, he's a much better impact player from the bench, and he's almost in that Scott Wright role now. When he does start games, he's poor and he's iffy and he's getting hauled off at half time. That's not how you develop players, that's not how you build players up. I think we need to go back and figure out a way that Ross McCausland can come on for the last 15-20 minutes, use his pace, use his directness the right way. But again, to be fair to the young lad, he was getting played out of position. Why? I don't know. It's just what we like today. But he wasn't the only other question mark in the starting 11. That was obviously going to be Tavernier, because that's what's been the conversation. I mean, if we made a preview video, which we didn't, as we've already discussed St Johnstone last month, I didn't want to bore you by talking about the exact same stuff. The main conversation point all week, especially from Leon, is what to do with the right back position, because Tavernier isn't performing. Tavernier is our weak link. And again, the manager said at the start of the season to us, the fans, Tavernier wouldn't be starting every game. So after playing poorly, after what the manager said, we were led to believe with the performances by other people, especially the likes of Nana, maybe we'd get an opportunity at home at Ibrox, because if it's no now, when are we ever going to try a different right back to see? If it's no against the likes of St Johnstone that's struggling as much as they are, when are we going to pull the trigger and give someone else a goal at the right back position? But unfortunately, again, Clement sticks by his man, and again, I'm not turning this into a witch hunt, I'm just saying that's been the conversation point all week. You know what I mean? Who's going to play in right back? Sterling's just got a new contract. Nana's been winning man of the matches when he plays. Or is it the guy that's been struggling? Unfortunately, it was the guy that was struggling. But I guess the best thing I can say, and what I'm actually going to say, is Tavernier wasn't as bad as he has been recently. Now again, he wasn't really tested the 1v1 as it was against St Johnstone, who were mostly hitting long balls to their centre forward, trying to get in behind, especially behind Proper's lack of mobility. That's the route the Kiney went. He wasn't tested too much, but again, I just want to give some praise sometimes. You know what I mean? It's easy to be negative all the time, and I know that's where all the negativity and the views and all are, but Tavernier wasn't that bad today, and if certain other players performed and put glaring opportunities away, he'd have finished with a couple of assists. So aye, I'm not turning into a witch hunt, but that was my frustration seeing the starting 11. I feel like we've reached that time where we should be moving forward. We didn't, but he didn't play necessarily badly. So aye, let's get in to the actual game recap, because he was involved in the first major opportunity in the game of football. It's, by the way, another game of football with had a shot in the first 2 minutes. It was a bit of a disappointing one from Dio, but a couple minutes later, after some good early pressure, Tavernier whips in a ball right into the mixer. Dessers completely loses his man. He's 3, 5, 6 yards out, anything on target. He's burst the back of net, but somehow, some way, Dessers headers it up and over. When it is truly one of those cliche things, it's harder to miss than to score. It is that way. He's free, he's home, and that's what frustrates the people that are very against Dessers. It's these moments, it's the requiring the 5 and 6, it's being a bash brother for Mighty Ducks. We're needing somebody a bit clinical there, and maybe if he was taking these glaring opportunities, he wouldn't be getting substituted off, moaning and huffing and puffing and huffing and puffing. Do your job on the part, and you'll not get substituted off early in games of football. That's my thoughts on that, and Dessers doing his wee moaning, going off the part. I don't care. Perform on the part, you stay on it. Didn't he perform, you'll come off it. That's the way it works. Or it should be, unless you're called James Henry Tavernier. But where they have stuck with Tavernier, they also stuck with Cerny, who was also struggling. But in this game, he was sharp, he was positive. He sent up a couple of balls. There was one where he was heavily involved in the right-hand side that resulted in quite a slick bit of football, actually, that resulted in Diamandi having another shot that was well blocked by Big Sanders. Then a couple of minutes later, he's down the right-hand side, faking the in, comes back out, drills one. It is a difficult ball to Ross McCausland, and again, he's not really the biggest aerial threat, which confuses me why Jack Butland hits long balls to him and why we're crossing things to the back post there. But unfortunately, it was nothing. But at least it was positive, and it was good to see the laddie playing well. That's what we as football fans want to see, our players playing well. And in the first 30 minutes, there was spells in it. Again, I still think there's a problem with the overall tempo in a Rangers team, and as much criticism I hear or I get told, you need to say this on your channel, or say, do you want to think with this, blah, blah. Whenever I run anybody, they always want to talk about the lackey style or the lackey identity under Clint. He's been here a year, CJ. What's he brought in? I get why people constantly say that to me, but the one thing I would say that he has brought in is a much slower tempo to everything. Set pieces, throws, building up for the back, trying that. It's very, very, very slow. And I think that spoils and maybe sours a lot of the good play when we do actually pull the trigger to go forward. There was some nice play today. Raskin, again, positive pass to Diamandi, who was involved in quite a lot, as you're actually hearing, that gives it to Cerny, whose shot was actually blocked on that occasion. But it's when we click into gear, we can play some lovely stuff. But as a Rangers fan, it's the 6 minutes between the good play when we slow everything down to a crawl that's maybe the signal. If we got rid of that and just went balls to the wall, attacking the way maybe a Rangers team should be, or it was previous, especially in Europe, I think more people would be excited to watch us. But aye, there were spells in the first half especially, you're just thinking, come on, please, just pass the ball forward. But we do have a phenomenal goal to talk about, and that makes me a very, very happy man. But before we talk about that, we need to talk about Dessers, where again he's been frustrating in the game. Once again, he's fouled inside the box as the boy is ripping his shirt off again right in front of the referee. And again, I'm sorry, I know we've won and I know there's other things to talk about, but see if they can look at the hagi stuff and they can look at this and they can look at a Jack Butland diving header to see if there's any malicious, all this crap that they're looking. They can't just look at Dessers for 2 seconds getting pulled down when the ball's coming into him. He's gone for a header and he's getting chucked in to the side. I know they didn't want to give penalties constantly for this anymore. There would be 5, 6 in a game, but if you look at what's happening to Dessers, he's getting fouled, and if he's getting fouled, it should be blown and it should be treated that, because that's how you stop it. So in a way, as much as I've been critical and I thought Dessers was rotten today, especially stopping several key opportunities to attack and get in the box, which we will speak about, he's getting fouled and pulled down in the box. And maybe the ironic thing Palpatine once said to Anakin is when Dessers a couple minutes later pulls on the shirt like that and instantly gets given a foul against him, and you can see him reacting and scream to the ref, how can I do it, but how can he do it, but I can't, and everything like that. You can understand the frustration, and maybe what he needs to do is stop letting that affect the game. But as a fan, Dessers should have a penalty here. He's getting his shirt ripped off him. He's pulled down on the deck. But again, maybe it's a cried wolf style scenario as he goes down more than my Wi-Fi connection. It could be one of those things. But if VAR's able to stop the game and look at that, I need to ask why that's not a penalty, because there was less contact on him last week or the week before. Last week, and where he did get one. So I want to talk about that fairly, just because it's fair. As much as I've been critical of Dessers, and I will be, should have had a penalty there, and I don't know, maybe Tavernier would have actually scored at that. Would have been nice. But we did score a phenomenal goal just a couple minutes later, and it's brilliant the way it comes down as Cerny just turns his man inside out, and it was these instincts. If you look at it and if you watch the Rangers game, that's no been him all season long. I don't know if Sahan's clicked or if Son's happened. I know he's deactivated his Instagram. Maybe he's pissed off, maybe he's angry, maybe he's feeling frustrated, but instead of stopping and waiting for Tav to trot by him and pass it, he was actually just taking his man on, and that's how this goal actually happens. He gets it and goes forward, which is a winger should be actually doing. I don't know if he's gone off book here or not. Maybe Clement's not wanting him to do that, but it's absolutely beautiful. Nutmegs the boy, opens the body up, gets the angle, and finishes beautifully with a curler with a left peg that our boy Robin would have been delighted with. And aye, what a goal to open a game. And you could clearly see what it meant to him and the way the players reacted to him scoring, as he's probably had a tough week and frustrating week in all aspects, if we're being honest, with his misses and how poor he's been versus Malmo even during the win. So aye, that was big for Cerny, big for his team, and it set us up to what should have been a more comfortable day. And the reason I say that is because despite that phenomenal goal, what happened the rest of the first half? Tell me something happened in the first half. You can't, can you not? Because the standards dropped, the tempo dropped. Again, we need to keep the level up here. This is Rangers, this is Ibrox, that's against St Johnstone. No offence, but it should be constant. But now it's passing and it's recycling and it's slowing down and it's corner and it takes 50 seconds to put the corner in. It takes 25 seconds to play a throw in. It's like, okay. And to be fair, Barami, who was now in the 10 position, something we did want as well, and he was great. You could see his wee movements, his turn, how much in him playing he had with Diamandi, Cerny, even Dessers he was pinging a ball off. The one person he couldn't connect with, someone we mentioned earlier in terms of Ross McCausland, is they two just have a red bar. If you know, you actually know there is zero chemistry between them, and you could see Barami was getting very frustrated. There'd be sometimes he'd be making a phenomenal run, Ross wouldn't see it, as he just wants to keep coming into his right hand side onto his strong foot and pass it or shoot himself or just miss the pass. And there was other times where Barami was beating a man open up and sliding a ball where a winger should actually be. But again, I didn't want to turn this into a pile on to Ross McCausland either. He is what I know he is. He's a young laddie learning the game. He shouldn't be starting games of football. He's an impact player. He's shown that this season. And on top of that, ladies and gentlemen, he's not a left winger. He's no got a left foot. So him cutting in naturally on his right foot, maybe frustrating Cerny, maybe frustrating Barami, maybe frustrating Dessers, is because he's no got a left foot. He's playing out of position, and his natural instinct when he gets it is to put it on his strong fit. But aye, that's the perfect summary. There's no chemistry there. It kept breaking down. You could see Barami was getting frustrated. He was demanding him to go down there. Ross was biting back and saying he wants to come in here. It just wasn't working once again, and it's another starting 11 that's not got a proper balance under Clement. It's what we talk about every week. It's what we talk about every game. We then need to adjust it and identify it and change it with a half-time sub or a sub in the 60th minute. We just need to get that better and just pick a team where everybody's playing in their actual positions. Why should that be so hard? Why is it so hard for Rangers to play players that are performing well in the right positions? It's crazy to be saying this out loud, but aye, that really helped going into the first half with nothing to talk about. Now that change was obviously ripped up as well because of was drawn at half time, which I didn't like to see. Again, I feel like it ruins his confidence, it's ripping off his belief. Keep him for the last 15-20 minutes a game. Again, I'm not going into a game, but I didn't like seeing young laddies like getting ripped off at half time. They're doing the job, you're putting them in there even though you're throwing them under the bus. But also Diamandi came off, who again is still building his way back up after having a previous knock, who was playing alright, by the way. Had a couple shots blocked. There was one where Cerny also whipped it into him, but it's a little bit behind him. His touch makes the defender get an opportunity, and it's another block by Big Sanders, who has another good game versus Rangers, if I'm being honest with you. But that was the two subs at half time. McCausland off, Diamandi off, Hagi on, and Connor Barron on. But the latter again isn't what really anybody wants to talk about, because we're going to talk about Hagi, and we've already spoke about it. Bright on the ball, great reception, and his penetrating pass forward, gets on it, whips it right to Cerny, who again fakes it left, cuts inside, finishes brilliantly with the right foot, what used to be his bread and butter in Dutch football, as it just takes the defender off balance. Brilliant goal for him, brilliant assist for Hagi. It was all sunshines and rainbows. And before we talk about the red card again, ladies and gentlemen, we obviously have another moment where Hagi created two other opportunities in the game of football. There's one where he fed it right into Hagimania as well. Hagimania just hits it sort of softly and tamely at the goalkeeper. You think to yourself, that was unlucky. And there was another one where he nipped it into Hagimania again, who tries to wriggle away and ends up trying to set someone else who balloons it over the bar. That was Hagi in his creativity best, and that's what he sprinkled in this game before the red mist. No, it's not even red mist actually. Let's stop the silliness here. It's just a mist time challenge as he's wholeheartedly going into it, and he ends up getting sent off and probably undoing a lot of his very, very good work in those brief moments he was on the actual park. But you know what that means, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to jump over some nearlies. I mean, Tavernier had a couple free kicks that went close. There was a couple other set pieces that proper went close where he did, but again we're now down to 10 men. St Johnson's now getting a couple more opportunities, and you know what that means. Whenever the game plan gets ripped up, what does Clement do? Turn to the bench and say, go get Sterling. Big Sterling comes in to the old game of football and he gets played. Where does it get played? I don't even know. He's just Sterling, just go out there and chase the ball, mate. Alright, no worries, I'll go and do that. On he goes, looking as happy as ever, ladies and gentlemen, and we try to see the game out. Now, St Johnstone do get a goal back, and it looked very close from former Rangers man Nicky Clark with a brilliant finish, but it is checked by VAR and got put offside, so we did get lucky there. We also got lucky with another opportunity where St Johnstone are now starting to catch us. We're still piling people forward. They catch us on the counter-attack, and maybe something we talked about in the Leon game where Tavernier never had the composure to slide it to Dessers or slide it to Lawrence in the first minute, but Tolizo did when he cut it back to Lacazette. Well, look at the moment here for St Johnstone. 2-0 against 10 men, 79th, 78th minute, whatever it was. There's a 3-on-1 opportunity here, but the St Johnstone player shoots from the tight angle instead of getting his head up and showing his composure, and that just shows you the different levels in the game. And that's the mistakes that we didn't get away in Europe, but we get away with in Scottish football, because again, no offence, the level we're actually playing, and that's what we need to tidy up, because we're making these mistakes but we're getting away with them. You forgot about them, didn't you? We won 2-0, St Johnstone, 3 points up the road, name was talking about it. That's in Europe, we concede. That game probably all goes wrong, and that's why we need to tidy up these mistakes. But again, thankfully St Johnstone player showed zero composure, because if he gets his head up, makes a simple pass, it's 2-1 at that point. 10 minutes left, we're down to 10 men. Arsees could be Clapham, but thankfully he's not got that in his locker, and we're able to see the rest of the game out. The only other real talking point was a moment where Big Jack Butland, well it is, ladies and gentlemen, he just went, do you know what I mean? He just went for a cheeky diving header, and that made my night right there. And that was truly the game set match. Again, we're not going to break down too much into it. I know there was nearlies, there was maybes, there was Dessers falling over the ball. There was Dessers getting frustrated before he was eventually withdrawn for Hagimania. I know there's other wee half chances there, but we look at it, since coming back for the international break, we have beat Dundee, we have beat Dundee United, we have beat Malmo, we have beat Hibs, and we have beat St Johnstone. The only blemish in that record was versus Leon, where again the game got away with us. We just got punished by sheer quality. I think everyone that were asked before we went into the last international break, after getting embarrassed by Celtic, the team's on its knees, would you take that going into the next break before the international break? I think a lot of us would, because we can understand losing to the likes of Leon. Now again, there was frustration in that performance, but again, at least we've done enough during this break. We just need to tidy up the stuff and maybe just get a style of play or a formation and just play people in the right position. I'm still waiting for that. I've not seen a starting 11 since Clement was appointed a year ago where everybody was played in their preferred position. Think you? That's not a funny line. I'm not making a joke here. I'm not being sarcastic. That's the truth. In a year. We've not seen a left winger play at left wing, a right winger play at right wing, midfielders, strikers, but we've not seen them in the right role. I just hope maybe when we come back for this international break, that's something where I can identify with, and something we can try and move forward, and maybe there will be stopping being these silly mistakes and silly performances. Aye, it's no great, but we won, ladies and gentlemen, and hopefully by the time we next talk to you, we've got some happier things to talk about as well in terms of good performances. But aye, done the job. 2-0 St Johnstone, terrible kick-off time, absolutely killing what is a potential, well, it is a home game for us, but you know what I mean, if that's 12 o'clock, if that's 3 o'clock, it's on, the crowd's packed, everyone's excited, that's the home advantage. I think when you throw a game at 8 o'clock, like that, where the St Johnstone fans can't even really travel for the game either, you're taking some away for the game, making it no the same, and I wasn't too happy with it, if I'm being brutally honest, and that's probably why I'm posting about 1 o'clock in the old morning. But that's it, ladies and gentlemen. What about you? Let me know your thoughts and opinions down there in the old comment section below. Cerny, man of the match. Hagi made the most impact. What about you? Let me know. As always, I've been Sage92. Thank you so much for watching. All the best, and bye-bye.